Wow, it's freezing in here. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching me from. I hope you are okay. I hope you are doing well and your day hasn't been so bad. Well, we thank God for the gift of the day and we are almost rounding it up. So if you have been alive till now, have faith in God that you're finishing your day and tomorrow God will also be there for you. So welcome to this week episode on relationship. So this may be the end of the relationship series for 2020, hopefully, but if not, we'll still have something else to talk about. So we are going to be talking about the role of communication in families, the role of effective communication in families. So that's what we are going to be looking at today. So I have taken my time and I prepared this, and I have to share it because this is Christmas and we really need effective communication, especially in time like Christmas like this, and all the time we need effective communication in our family, so we can stay together peacefully. Okay, so we're going to be looking at definition of a family. So we all know that a family is a group of people, could be two or more people, that are related by blood. Could be like father, mother, and children. So we have nuclear family, which is father, mother, and children, and also we have extended families that we have father, mother, children, uncle, aunties, and so that is called family. And also family can come by adoption. So you can adopt a child into your family and that child is part of your family, is your child, adopted child. It could be a stepchild, like you have a stepson or a stepdaughter from either of your partner and the child lives with you, so that child is part of your family. So that is called your family. And it could also be fostering. Let me set up this camera properly. Yeah, that's better. So it can also be fostering. You're fostering a child and he lives in the same household with you. So as long as the person lives in the same household with you, that person is your family, is in the family, and there's blood connection and there's marriage. So that means they are your family. So when we talk about extended family, so we're talking about aunties, uncle, cousins, and siblings, all of them there, right? So this today's relationship talk on effective communication in your families, it encapsulates all these areas that I'm talking about. Okay, so why is it important for us to communicate in the family? So why is it important for us to communicate in the family? So we communicate in the family so that we will get to know what someone needs, maybe what the child needs, what the husband needs, or what the wife needs. So we express our needs by way of our communication. So communication is so important because we want to know what we can do for you, and if you have any concerns, like for example, if the husband have concerns for the wife, or the wife have concerns that they want to share with the husband, or something is worrying them, the only way they can share it with their husband is through communication. Also our children as well are in the midst of it. Sometimes the children also, they have problem And sometimes they can't even open their mouth to tell you, this is what I'm going through as a child. But their body language, as a mother, as a parent, the mother or a father, communication is important, because you can identify when this child need attention. So you can identify when your child is trying to speak to you, even though they don't voice out, you can read their body language. So that's why effective communication is very important in family. So we also have to be open and honest when we are trying to communicate with each other. So if we are communicating, if husband is communicating with the wife, they should be open and they should be honest. So you communicate with love, communicate with respect, and communicate with dignity. So we're going to see that. So communicating with love is not only between husband and wife. So when you're communicating with your child, no matter how young they are, you also communicate with love. Communicating with respect is not only to your spouse, but when you're communicating to your child, communicating to your house help, communicating with your gate man, communicating with your cook, as long as they live in that house, they are your family. So you need to communicate with them with that respect as well, and with love. Open communication also comes with admiration. So when you admire someone, your spouse, you admire your wife, when maybe, let's say, when they do something good, or maybe they buy new clothes, or they do new hairstyle, you admire her, you admire her hair. Oh, darling, your hair looks good. Or you admire your husband when he went to the barbers and give himself a good shaving and comes back home. You have to admire him, not only just looking and passing. So effective communication at home, those little things matters a lot. Admire your children, even when they are not doing well in school. The little effort they have made, when they come home, don't talk them down. Appreciate them for that little thing they have done well. And if they have not done so well, appreciate them, admire them, and then you find out that they will do better instead of condemning them. So we have different process of how we communicate as family. In the family unit, how do we communicate? The process, we have verbal communication, we have non-verbal communication. Well, a lot of you have done lesson on communication, so it's not only in the workplace, we should bring it to the house where we live. So the verbal communication is the communication where we talk, like I'm talking now, by word of mouth. And non-verbal communication is the one that we use different cues to express ourselves. So we talk about body language, we talk about facial expression, and also we talk even our tone can also be part of when you're talking, and the way you keep your tone can make people to know that you're not happy. Your eye contact as well, the way you talk to your spouse, maybe you're talking to your husband, or maybe you're talking to your wife, you're not looking into their eyes. It can also make them know that something is not right. So the main problem we have here when we talk about verbal and non-verbal communication, it could be non-verbal communication could also be like maybe you're sending text to your spouse, you're sending text to your child, or your child is sending text to you, through the phone, or sometimes email. We have to be careful what we send, because anything you have written, like in the Bible, Jesus said, Pilate said, what has been written has been written. So anything you write to somebody, you cannot erase it. Even the verbal language, even if you apologize to that person, the thing is still sticking in their head. It takes a long time for them to eradicate that from their memory. So you have to be careful. So when you're sending message, you have to send message in simple, clear language, simple, clear English, or depending on the language you're using, it should be simple, clear language for your partner to understand what you're talking about. So don't send a message that when the person receives the message, it's not clear and the person begins to think otherwise. That will create a lot of conflict in the home. So like children, like I always say to my children, if you want to send me a text, send me a text in clear language, because young people have a way of expressing themselves, and the way they write that bar, BUR, na, NAR, all those things. So that is good for their mates. But if you're communicating, use clear terms. So the communication process in the family involves who says what, and to whom we say it to, how we talk. How do you talk to your partner? How do you talk to your children? This is the main reason why we are here. Whom we are talking to, when you're talking to them, how is your body language, how is your facial expression when you're talking to them, where you're talking to them. Some of us, we are very much in a hurry. You're talking to your child. You start talking to your child in the sitting room, and you finish that. Maybe you're giving instruction. You started giving the instruction in your sitting room, and then you finish it in the kitchen. And which means that some of the information you have passed to that child is partially, the child might absorb or assimilate some of them, but the rest of them, because when you're talking, your communication is taken, is the channel that flows. So the waves in the house is taking some of them, and the child will not hear. Which means that as mother and father, when we are talking to our children, we have to assume a position where we can talk to them in the way they will understand. Talk to them, face them, and give instruction clear before you move on. Don't talk and walk as you're talking and you're going all over the place. At the end of the day, the child will miss that instruction and will not know exactly what she has done, or what you want him or her to do, and then you think that they don't obey your instruction is because you did not give them appropriate instruction. So how we communicate with our children matters a lot. So sometimes when we communicate to our children in that manner, we don't pay attention to them, and in fact we don't even look in their eyes. Maybe there are things that bother them, and because we are always so communicating so quickly, and we are walking and we are talking, and sometimes when they also want to talk, we are talking into their talk. So when we are talking into their little argument they raise, you're completely shutting them up. So we need to give active listening. We need to listen to our children. We also need to listen to our partner. When you're a husband, you have to listen to your wife. When you're a wife, you have to listen to your husband. You have to maintain eye contact when you're talking. It's not only when you go to office that you have to maintain eye contact. In your home, we need to start to maintain eye contact with each other. So we have what we call instrumental and effective communication, okay? So this is very important in family, and we should always try as much as possible to practice it at home. Instrumental communication is exchange of factual information, which enable the individual to fulfill some common function. And that is what I just gave an example a while ago. So if you want someone, this is, suppose you want your husband to do something for you, or you want your husband to help you to do task. A lot of time, women, we like to blame that our husband are not helpful. Our husband is not doing anything. They're only commanding. It depends on how we talk to them. So if you are going to ask your husband to do something for you, you have to know how to approach it and how to also be clear on what you want, and speak clearly, maintaining eye contact with him. Also, if you're going to talk to your child, telling a child that he or she will pick the child from school at a particular time in a particular location, be specific on what you're saying to the child. I will be picking you from school by 4 o'clock, and I want you to wait for me by the head teacher's office, and that same time you are there to pick them up. That's instrumental communication. You pass instruction to that person and you're clear about it. Husband, the same thing. If you want to pass instruction to your wife, what you want your wife to do, you have to take your time to speak. Take your time to communicate it with your wife. Don't go in the shower. Hey, you finish your shower. Hey, you have your breakfast. Hey, you drink your tea. Finish, you take khaki. Hey, darling, I want you to go to the dry cleaner, get my clothes there, go to the market, get this, go. Your wife is not your house help, young man. Your wife is not your house help. It doesn't matter how many years you've lived together, you still have to show your wife some respect. It's not because maybe she's at home, you go home and bring money. That doesn't make her your house help. So you have to talk to your wife with respect. Just like you would like her to talk to you. Darling, please, can you help me take my laundry to the dry cleaners if you have the time? And also, I would like to eat chicken today. Is it possible to stop by the market today to get some chicken? Because that's what I'm feeling like eating. Yes, that's respectful. Okay, so we should learn to speak with our wife respectfully, and wife as well. Learn to speak with your husband respectfully. Give clear instruction what you want him to do. Not that your husband is dressing up to go to work. I want money. I want to do my hair, my nails. I want to go and buy my clothes. I want this. I want to change my wardrobe. Can I have some money, please? That's very rude. That's being rude. You can't just wake up early in the morning. Oh, can I have money? I need here. I need it. You need to have what we call dialogue. You can win your husband with anything. You know, anything you want him to do, you can win him. I'm sorry that my husband is not here. He could be here to say it, right? If I want to talk to my husband, if I want him to give me something, I know how to approach him. You know, cook him his best meal. When he finish eating, sit down with him, make him a cup of tea, and you said you are in charge of the television. Just put the channel you like today, and he will. And then while he's watching the telly, he said, "Darling, remember, it's been long. I haven't done my nails. Look at my nails. What do you think?" He said, "It needs doing." Okay. And then my hair. And you see, I think you need to do your hair. So what is it? Please, can I have some money to do that? So I'm not saying that the way I talk works in your home. Everybody differs. That's why I don't really know, when I'm coming to talk, I don't really like to talk about people's marriages, because what works in my home cannot work there. But my emphasis is be clear with what you want your wife to do, and talk to your wife with respect, and talk with your husband with respect, and also talk to your child with respect. No matter how young they are, they need to be respected. Also, we have affective communication. It's a way that we have to talk, we have to express our emotions one towards the other. So we express our joy, we express our anger, express our sadness. So if your child is not feeling well, especially a girl child, I need to really talk about this. When a girl child is going through the monthly cycle, some parents don't understand that these children are going through, hormonal swings. And when these children are going through hormonal swings, they have this kind of, some of them have menstrual cramps, and they really want someone to understand them. Right? But some parents, they don't understand them. Even when they are lying in bed, they are sad because of the monthly flow. The parent will tell them, "Can you stand up there? Can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do this?" They don't even recognize that child needs some time to themselves, because of they are on their period. They need some time to themselves. So if you go there to talk to them, they need you to make them a cup of tea. They need you to sit by their bedside. They just need that little cuddle for you to tell them, I've been through all this and I've been through it successfully. Don't worry, it will be finished in just few days. So we need to take our communication with our children very seriously, because the children need to be respected. We don't talk to them as if they are nobody. When a child is going through menstruation, we need to sit down with them. We need to allow them to rest in bed, make them a cup of tea, cook food for them, and don't rush them. Listen to them. Even the boy child as well. When a boy child is going through all those changes, they are growing, they see their voices is changing. I hope you can hear me. If you hear me, please can you type that you hear me, because this phone is very funny. Sometimes I'm scared of using this phone for my video, because sometimes it's just muted, some of them. So if you can hear me, please just drop me maybe a comment. So for the boy child, they go through puberty, they go through changes, they go through wet dreams and all that. Sometimes when your child is confined to bed, you have to go and find out, why is that child confined to bed? What makes that child not to get out of bed today? I said dialogue can solve a lot of problem at home. Even if when your husband starts shouting, get that child out of bed. Get him out of bed. I need him here. You can try to calm him down, because you need to go to your child calmly and ask your child what is wrong. And then even if your child will not open their mouth to tell you, this is what I'm going through, by their body language, by their facial expression, you should be able to know that that child, there's something wrong. That child should be left to be in bed to rest, or you should sit down and talk to them. Children have emotion. We should respect our children, the way we talk to them, and also our spouses as well. So I mentioned about clear communication and communicate frequently. That's what I'm going to talk about now. So families, we are so busy. Mothers are so busy. Fathers are so busy. And children are left on their home. So we don't really find time to communicate with each other. Sometimes our communication is just in the place of prayer. After the prayer in the morning, this one run this way, that one run that way. Children go to school. We come back again in the night. Everybody run, eat. Everybody's eating and gone. And they go to bed. Tomorrow morning, they back again. They pray. Everybody gone again. Life is not all about like that. But that is the truth and reality of busy professionals like me as well. But you still have to make room. I'm introducing the routine that works for me. We call it Family Friday. You need to have that Family Friday or Family Monday, any day. Don't say Saturday and Sunday, because the children are used to you maybe being at home on Saturday and Sundays, and that is the day that you have to sleep a bit more, and then you wake up late, maybe like 11 or 10 to start to do stuff. They're used to you. I mean, just create a day out of your routine. Maybe your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Find one day. For me, it's a Friday, and we call it Family Friday. That's the day you have to sit down with your children. It's not, I don't mean that you don't sit down on Monday. You sit down on Monday, you help them with the assignment and all that. You cook for them, how are you and all that. But the day that you need to spend time and make them feel like children and make them feel like babies. You know, I do mine on Friday. And everybody knows that Family Friday is something that we don't want to miss. No matter what I'm doing in my office on Friday, once it's 2-3 p.m., I'm looking for a way to pack up. I'm packing up because by 5 o'clock I should be in my kitchen preparing, because Family Friday, we start by 7 p.m. We sit together as a family, husband, wife, and children, and we talk. Tell me about your week. What are the good things you saw about your week, and what are the bad things? You play games, give them pizza, order food. Not every time you cook and give them. On Family Friday, order if they like McDonald's, Nando's, things, order for them. Ask them about their teachers, their teaching, what was funny, and after that, do you have any challenges in the house we live together? What can we do to improve your learning and all that? And husband as well, you can have time to catch up with your wife. How was the week? How have you been? How are you managing home? Is there anything we need to improve? This and that. That is when family communication is very important. Sit with your children and listen to them. Sit with your wife and listen to them. Communicate directly and listen to one another. One researcher shows that family that stay together, they only have one negative interaction. But for that one negative interaction, they will find 5 positive interactions to be able to mend that negative interaction. What it means here is that a husband and wife living together, they may have one negative interaction, which means that maybe they have communicated negatively to one another, but immediately they will just realize it reactively that what I said to her was wrong, and will go back and find 5 ways to solve that matter. Oh my God, what did I just say to my wife this morning? As the person is in the office, is thinking, okay, and I want to solve this problem. I stopped by supermarket. She liked to have flowers. I get her some nice, beautiful flowers today. And what does she like again? She would like to. Yes, I know what she likes. I know she likes to have sandwich. I know what your wife likes. Know what your husband likes, so that if you annoy her, you know how to bring her back. So as a couple, you know what your wife likes, know what your husband likes. So if you communicate ineffectively, find a way to resolve it immediately. Because if you leave communication for so long and leave that gap, that is what causes separation in marriages and divorce. When a man is not communicating with his wife, and the wife is not communicating with the husband, and they just live like that, make food and drop in the dining. This one will wake up, shower, go to dining, eat, take his bag and go to work and come back again. The woman has made dinner on the dining, she is in bed, and then the following day, they only communicate maybe when the man wants to make love to the wife, he just jump on her and finish and go his way. Such marriage have problem. Because whatever you and your husband, how you guys communicate also affect the children. Know what your children likes as well. So when you offend your child, don't say because I'm the mother I have the right to offend the child. You don't have any right to offend your child. The Bible warns us against it. Your duty is to take care of these children because God gave them to you as a nanny, as a father, as a mother, to take care of them. You don't have any right to make them angry. If you make a child angry in one way, look for 5 ways to solve that problem. What do they like? Where do they want to go? Okay. Find something that you can make the child to come back to you. Don't say, I'm a father, after all, I'm a dad. I talk to her anyhow I want to, wherever I want to, anywhere I want to. You are causing problem. You're bringing problem to your home. You have to communicate effectively. It's very important for family members to verbally compliment and encourage one another. That's another area I'm looking at. Compliment and encourage one another. Don't be a sadist. A husband that no matter what your wife will do, when you come home, nothing is better. Whatever your wife has done, you don't see anything good in her. Everything she says is wrong. In fact, even if she says good morning to you, you're upset. So there's root of bitterness in you. And there's something that she has done that could have caused you to be angered. And the Bible says that, it's not wrong for us to be angry. But sin not. Don't allow one anger, what your wife has done, one thing she's done, to ruin your day today, tomorrow, next. Like I said, your wife is entitled to your success. Behind every successful man, there is a woman, a prayerful woman. Don't let your wife to go on their knees and pray with pain in their heart, because it's not going nowhere. And don't be in a hurry to jump into your car after you have abused your wife at home and you go to work and say, okay, I'm going to fall in love with my secretary, that woman, I leave her there. You are wasting your time, because you have had a covenant with your wife. And if you abuse her, if you swear on your wife and left her and go and say, I have my secretary in the office, I'm going to go and have an affair with my secretary. Your secretary is never your wife. She's just going to sap everything from you. But your wife is your wife. So you have to learn to resolve matters quickly and make peace quickly, and don't leave it for so long. So you have to be fast in resolving issues. Compliment your wife. She's the mother of your children. Even if she doesn't have child for you, marriage is not about having children. I keep saying that over and over. Marriage is about companionship. If children come, the additional to the marriage is God's blessing. If it doesn't come, you remain with your partner, because you remain with your wife, because you were meant to complement each other. So compliment your wife, and that will encourage her to do more. Not that your wife will put all the effort, whatever she's doing, try to look good, and you don't see anything good in her. You can't even say, oh, you are I think I like the hairstyle. Keep it up. And what are you doing to her? You want her, when you don't compliment her, you are discouraging her. And then she was like, okay, despite everything I'm doing, nobody's saying anything, so I just remain where I am. And the same thing with your children. Compliment your child, compliment your son, compliment your daughter, even if in their weaknesses. A lot of parents, they said this lanyard said, my child must come home with 8 stars. In GCSE, they must come with 8 stars. If they don't come home with 8 stars, that child is not from my womb. You forget that during your time of studies, the way the exams are set today and the way they are taking the exams is different from your time. And then when the child comes back with A and B, you don't compliment the child. You're already saying, what are those people, those ones that had A's? Are they not children from a family? Why do you come back with B's and all that? You are discouraging that child. You are completely ruining their emotions. You're completely demotivating them. And then when you tell them to go to university, they may not want to go, or they'll be scared. And they will start lying. Appreciate them. Oh, you've done so well. Wow. You had 4 A's. You have 5 A's. I wish you have had all. But I know this B you have, it doesn't matter. As long as you can get the admission to do what you want to do. I'm going to support you with online lesson. I'm going to support you. We're going to work together. How many times have you spent time to look at your child's work? How many times have you sat down and asked her, this one that you got wrong, what happened? Let's see how we can solve it together. How many times have you contributed to your child's learning? How many times have you bent down to do their homework? before you start to blame them for being numbskull, nitwit. In fact, anything you call your child, that is what you are. Because if you call your child numbskull, you're a numbskull. You call him a nitwit, you're a nitwit, because your child comes from your womb. So you need to support your child. Communication. Communicate with your children. Ask them, is there anything we can do to support your learning? Create this family time. It's very important for your children to talk to you about their stress, about their problem, and also your wife and partner as well. Encourage them. Always encourage them. Even if they're not doing well, encourage them. Poor communication, it will increase the risk of divorce and marital separation, and also cause behavioral problems in children. Poor communication, it will cause a lot of families that are divorced or separated is because of poor communication. The husband is not communicating with the wife is not communicating with the husband. The two of them are living in the house like enemies. I was so shocked some months ago when I one of my old-time friend, I met her in the market. She said to me, I said, how is your husband? He said, my husband is there where he is. I said, what do you mean? He said, yeah, we are still in the same house. We are no more husband and wife. We are cohabiting now. I said, have you divorced? He said, no, we are almost divorced. Why? Because he stopped talking to me over 6 months now. We don't sleep together. We don't talk, but we live in the same house. How can couples live like that? Before you get to that level of you not talking to her, there must be something wrong. So don't leave gap in your communication. If you are busy, I am busy, my husband is busy, you are busy, your wife is busy, but create one day in a week that you sit down with your wife and your children and talk things over. What happened in the office? Get something to laugh about. What was the funny thing today that happened to you? And your wife start thinking, okay, in the morning, I don't have anything. What was funny about today? And you share your idea, your wife laugh. Laughter brings joy to the soul. Laughter add more age to you. It increase your age. The more you laugh, the more you live longer. The more you carry your face like Q, the more your lifespan is shortened. The more your heart pump harder. Because your nails are so stiff, because you're not laughing, you're not talking, you're just showing yourself that you are the man. Being a man is not in being hard. A proper man is a man that is approachable and loved by his wife and his children and is respected. Some people say, I want to show you that I'm a man, I'm the head of this house. When they come in, who is here? Everybody will running like army. Well, it doesn't work like that. For me, that cannot happen, you know. I don't live in a military zone. This is a home. I said to people, this is my palace. And I'm the queen. My husband is the king. And my children are the princess and the princess. So we have to live here peacefully. So make your home a safe haven. Make your home a peaceful heaven. Communicate effectively and don't leave the gap. Go to the kitchen, your wife is cooking. Body language, touch your wife. Make her embrace her. In fact, contribute to what she's doing. Appreciate a little effort she's making. She brings food for you. Eat the food. Turn around and say, wow, honey, that was fantastic. I'm enjoying it. You encourage her to cook better food tomorrow. She put your clothes in washing machine. She washed it. Maybe even if she forgot to spread it out, you come back and you saw them. You don't let her loose. Just, you forgot the clothes in the washing machine. Oh, yes, you have taken it out. Marriage is meant to be complementary. It's for fellowship together. Let's look at some instances what the Bible says. Right? A man who lacks judgment derides his neighbor, but a man of understanding holds his tongue. A man who is understanding. That's what Proverbs 11:12 says. A man who holds his tongue is a man of understanding. You don't be a man that you're talking. A woman should do the talking. Not all the time. A woman is not supposed to be talkative either, because if you talk too much, you will lie. You will sin. When the husband comes, and if you know that your husband is a type of person that have a temper, you'll be cold. If you're the type of person that is cold, you'll be calm. Every time I like to thank my husband, because when I married my husband, because I grew up in a family that we are all girls, we only have one boy. So my parents brought us up, because we are girls, in a way that we should defend ourselves. You know, we should defend ourselves, because we don't have any brother to come and call to come and fight for us. So I had that kind of, that kind of fighting spirit. But when I married my husband is a very tough personality. And I know that, okay, I have this strong personality, but two tough personality cannot be in one house. So I'm the woman, I have to succumb. And how God has changed me, my husband changed me, is to the glory of God. If my husband is talking, I don't say anything. When he finishes talking, I don't say anything. I'm always at fault. In fact, if you behave like, whether I'm wrong or I'm sorry, whether I'm not wrong or I'm sorry, all I need is let there be peace. And there's sometimes that me too, I'll be the mad one, and my husband will go quiet. He will not say anything. So let us learn to live peacefully with one another. Let's learn to respect our children as well. And also give them the opportunity for them to, enjoy their childhood, spend time with them. Effective communication is very important. The Bible says in Proverbs 18 verse 21, I read, the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat them fruit. The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. So we have to be careful with our tongue. And for women, you have to be careful what you're telling people about your husband, what you're telling people about him, what he's doing to you. A lot of marriage have been separated because everything your husband gives to you, everything your husband do to you, everything your husband, gave to you, you are telling your friend. And that will make your friend now to turn around to go. And be careful who you're talking to. If you're a married woman, why do you have friends with unmarried women? I don't know. Also, be careful not to bring people into your own marriage. Be careful not to bring people into your own marriage. When you have problem with your husband, solve it by yourself. Don't call your father. Don't call your mother. Those are apron strings. Don't call your mother. Don't call your father. Don't call your uncle. Your husband saw you and married you. So if two of you have problem and you cannot be able to resolve that problem, then there's serious problem in that relationship. How you make your bed is how you lie on it. Solve your problem by yourself. Even if you have in-law in your house, don't let them know that you're going through problem with your husband. Communication solves the problem. Dialogue solves the problem. I always say that my parents, they've been married for over 53 years now, my mom and dad. But from my time of growing up till I left my parents, I've never one day seen my father, my mom quarreling. I've never seen one day. I have never seen one day my mom and dad quarrel. We don't know when they quarrel. If they have any quarrel between them, we don't know. I haven't seen. I live with my parents. I left my parents in my 20s. I've never ever seen one day my mom and dad quarrel. I am number four of the children. All of us, we live there. We never see any quarreling. Despite that my father have us, we're about 9 girls and 1 boy. But they still stay together, loving. So don't tell me that there's no peaceful marriage. I will tell you that my parents live a peaceful marriage. I am, by the grace of God, I am fostering a peaceful marriage. Communication is the key to all marriages. For the marriage to work, make communication a priority. Make communication a priority. So I have some Bible verse here if you want to read them. Proverbs 18:21, Proverbs 10 verse 20, Proverbs 11 verse 12, Proverbs 31 verse 26, James 1:26. And just before I go, I wrote some things here. I said, if your husband is the one that has been providing, you still need to love your husband, respect him, and communicate with him respectfully. If you are the wife, you are the one that is earning bigger salary, earning more salary than your husband by virtue of your job or qualification and all that, and or you find yourself in the position of a breadwinner, you have to still respect your husband and communicate with him with respect and dignity, because he is your husband. Whether he's able to provide for you or is not able to provide for the family because of circumstance or situation in life, you that is able to provide, you have to provide for your family, and you have to still respect your husband. Many women, when they got to that point that they have to be providing for their husband, they communicate harshly to their husband. They turn their husband to their houseboy, or they turn their husband to a slave. And you know what? Those women, they don't end up well. Because either they crash out of that marriage, or something happened. If you're that type of a woman, you can repent today. No matter what, some women are westernized. When they come here to the UK and America and all that, they try to compete with the Western type of marriage, that we say marriage is this, a contract, and everybody's going there for their own selfish interest. And when the marriage crash, they go. Before you know it, you have left the marriage, but you're still monitoring what the man is doing on Facebook, what the man is doing on Instagram, the woman is talking to, because you have left. And because you felt that you are the man. I always say to people that one thing that is permanent is change. And I learned a lot from my parents. When my dad left teaching, my dad was a teacher. My father, he's still alive, in his 70s now. When he left teaching and joined the civil service, and after some times, as an accountant, my father lost his job. For 7 years, my mom was working and providing and sending us to school. But never a day that my mom would challenge my father to say, what can you provide? Rather, every day she prays for my father and set an example for us to follow. So there's no reason for any child from that house to go and become a wayward woman. The foundation you lay for your children, that will determine how they will relate with their spouse tomorrow. Let us live well and communicate well. I also says that you should call your husband. I'm about rounding up now. Call your husband by his first name if it's possible. If your husband's name is Daniel, call him Daniel, so that he will remember that is his name. If you don't want to call him Daniel, call him my husband. Remind him of his role, that he's your husband. My husband, Danny. Remind him of his name. People mistake and they will be calling their husband baby. They call their husband daddy. There's nothing wrong with that. But the point is, if you call your husband baby, for me, my own concept is you're trying to make him behave like a baby. Because he's not a man. He's not a man to you, he's a baby. So he makes series of mistakes. So that is the problem. When you call him by his role, my husband, once in a while, call him my husband. You can call him darling, you can call him sweetheart, you can call him anything you want to call him, but don't call your husband baby. Don't call your husband daddy. If you call your husband daddy, you call him daddy, he will treat you like he's your father. He will discipline you like a father, how a father would discipline a child. So you're the wife and you're calling him daddy, he will turn a father on you. So remember, the role of a father is to discipline the child, train the child. But the role of a husband is to care, love, protect, and support his wife. So you have to be careful what we call our spouses. Even the same thing, if your husband is calling the wife mommy, mommy, mommy. You can't call your wife mommy all the time. It's not a bad thing to do. But when you call your wife mommy, you may forget her, thinking that it's your mom. And the same treatment, sometimes your mom, you think that, okay, anything your mom is giving to you, whether it's good or bad, you don't criticize, you just say, okay, that's fine. So whether she like I said, whatever she gives to you, whether it's something you can help her to grow, you don't correct her because you think she's your mom. So call your wife by her name, so that reminds you that is that same Precious you saw and love. That will remind you that is that same Caroline you saw and you fall in love with. The more you call the person's name, the more it rings a bell in your head who that person is. Call her wifey, my wife. How are you? That declares you as the husband. And then you remember that you need to communicate with her, show some respect that she's not your slave. You wake up in the morning that kind of a man, I gave a scenario. Hey, take my clothes to the dry cleaner, take my clothes to this, wash my clothes, clean my car, do this. Who is hey? But when you said, my wife, or sweetheart, as soon as you open your mouth and say sweetheart or darling, your countenance, your body language, your attitude change. You can't call her sweetheart, darling, go and take my clothes to dry. No, you won't. As soon as you open your mouth and say, darling, sweetheart, the next thing that follow, please. You see what? I don't know if you're getting me. As soon as you open your mouth and say, darling, please, I want you to. But when you say, hey, then she's turned to herself, take my clothes here, take this, do this. Hey, who is hey? Once that hey coming, arrogant will come in, devil will sit on your shoulder, making you the lord over her, and you start to make your wife look like a slave, and she will remain a slave to you. You communicate at the same level, right? Sometimes you just call her wifey. Wife, my husband, please, I need this. Always use that word, please. And when things are not going right, everybody long face. If we long the face and go out in the morning, when we come back, one person have to say, I know it's my fault, I'm sorry. And solve the problem. The same thing with your children. The same thing with the children as well. So, that is my series for relationship today. You can call your husband anything you want to call, but be careful. Be careful, because whatever you call your wife or husband, this is how it will cause their personality to change as well. So communicate effectively with your husband, maintain eye contact, good posture, and be clear with what you want him to do for you, and stop masking communication. Communicate with your children, spend time with your family, and always try to find a day that you sit down and catch up on what happened within the week. And then don't leave too long Don't leave a gap in your communication. Make sure that your communication flows. Ring your wife. Some people will stay the whole day, they won't even ring their wife to say how are you. That is not a good thing. Ring your wife or ring your husband and say how are you, how is today. Or even if you didn't have time to ring, when your husband comes in or your wife comes in, try to look at what happened in the day. When your children come in, also ask them how are you, how was school today. Sometimes they are in a hurry to go to their room. You can also go to their room. And finally, before I go, if you want your child to change attitude, you have to justify. Part of communication, you have to justify why they should not do what you want them to do. I just want to give this example to close my talk today. If your children are watching a channel that you don't like, or they're doing something you don't like, you don't just go to them and say, I want you to stop it. You need to take your time to explain why do you want them to stop what you want them to stop. And they are not stupid. They will reason with you and they will understand why you actually want them to stop doing what they are doing or watching what they are watching, and then they will stop. Like I said, shouting, screaming, and all those things doesn't solve problem at home. Only dialogue is what we need in our families, in our home, to be able to stay peacefully. So I wish you a very good Christmas when it comes, and I have Happy New Year in advance. If you don't see me again, I'll see you next year. By the grace of God, you will get there in Jesus' name. Amen. Bye.